Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. It may be the end of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson's public presence within the royal family, as King Charles reportedly has made the decision to keep both the Duke and Duchess of York at arm's length, following the emergence of emails suggesting that Sarah Ferguson maintained contact with Epstein long after publicly disavowing him in 2011, while Andrew's own connection to the disgraced financier has long dogged the monarchy. This new detail has reignited scrutiny. A royal source told the Sunday Times that the pair are not expected to attend the traditional Christmas festivities at Sandringham this year, nor are they likely to be welcome at future family events. You can't sack someone from being your brother, but this year, if the Duke and Duchess were both to be as honourable as last year, it would be very much for the best and the family would not be disappointed. A family friend adds, the king is not of the mind to banish someone worshipping at church or attending family occasions like a funeral, but he would hope that they would find a more discreet way of attending these events. In the Duke of York's case, he seems to relish the prospect of not being low-key about it. Prince William has made no secret of his frustrations. An earlier report from the Daily Beast quoted a source as saying, William always said, just cut Andrew off completely. Charles was so desperate to be seen as embodying the spirit of Christian forgiveness that he let Andrew back in. Now, with public patience wearing thin, it appears King Charles is finally drawing firm boundaries, though for some within the family it may be a case of too little too late. The Daily Mail's Richard Kay suggests a risk in pushing Andrew too far away. He explains, if he is pushed too far, how might Andrew react? Would he follow his nephew's lead and write a memoir, which could potentially be even more devastating for the royals than Prince Harry's book? Can Charles bring himself to sever all links with the brother who for 22 years was his immediate heir? Can he be firm without being cruel? With more possibly to come out about Andrew and Epstein, his legacy as a monarch may depend on it. In The Royalist, Tom Sykes suggests we are seeing a shift in the balance of power from father to son. Sykes writes, this is not about who gets how many roast potatoes. It is about the structure, the anatomy, the sinews of the monarchy, who holds power, who makes decisions, who defines the institution's survival strategy. The answer is now clear, William. Make no mistake, this is an utter humiliation for Charles, who expended significant political capital against the advice of his son and his key aide, Sir Clive Alderton, to invite Andrew to join the family at Christmas 2022, and then incredibly invited Sarah Ferguson, who tried to sell access to Andrew in a videotaped sting for £500,000 in 2010. Don't believe the spin in the Sunday Times that this is the King's decision and William supports it. This is just clever journalistic diplomacy by the ever-skillful Roya Nicker. It's clear to everyone with a political antenna that this is William's hard-won victory, and events have forced the aged, weak father to comply with his son and heir. It is Charles who has been dragged, against his own attempts to the contrary, into accepting William's harder line. Of course, the King and the Prince of Wales are not only divided on Andrew, but also on style, tone, and fundamental questions of how the monarchy should conduct itself. Add Harry to the mix and the differences multiply. The UK press rarely mentions the looming fact shaping all of this. Charles is gravely ill, not expected to live much more than a couple of years, and is supposed, according to precedent, to be ceding control to William. However, he has resisted handing over power in the same way his own mother did. Elizabeth allowed Charles to co-run the monarchy during her last decade. It's intriguing that the king climbed down after spending time with William in Scotland this week. The palace tried to present last week's father-son meeting in Scotland as a summit of unity. The truth, as my readers know, is different. William stayed at Balmoral, 8 miles from Birkhall, where Charles and Camilla are based. He spent much of his time shooting grouse with friends. This was no cozy weekend of father-son bonding. It was a negotiation, and William emerged with his father's head. More palace in just a moment. If you're a fan of true crime and justice stories, please check out our sister podcast, Celebrity Trials. It's a daily show diving into all the current trials going on around the country. And then sometimes we dive into some of the more classic cases. Like this week is the 30th anniversary of the O.J. Simpson trial verdict. And the show is covering 8 months of the trial in 8 days. 8 days of OJ. Check it out, Celebrity Trials, wherever you get your podcasts. Meghan Markle's role in a high-profile Los Angeles gala has come into question after her name was left off the official program for the rescheduled event. The Duchess of Sussex had originally been due to attend the Night of Wonder Gala at the Natural History Museums of Los Angeles County in June, where she was set to be honoured for championing women and underserved communities. The event, designed as an enchanted garden at night, complete with immersive exhibits and live music, was postponed due to protests in the area and now has been rescheduled for October 15th. When announcing the original event, Museum President Laurie Betterson-Vargas said, "We are proud to honour Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, a native Angelino, whose work to advance community well-being and expand opportunity, especially for underserved communities, aligns with our equity-focused approach to developing science literacy for the next generation." However, with tickets for the autumn gala priced at $1,500, Meghan's name no longer appears on the official schedule, and reports suggest her attendance remains uncertain. The Duchess's representatives and the museum have yet to comment. Meghan Markle has given fans another glimpse into her private life, this time sharing a video from a relaxed evening with friends. The Duchess posted the short clip to Instagram showing a game of Mahjong in progress at her Montecito home. Seated around the table with three friends, Meghan revealed her Mahjong tiles laid out alongside a glass of wine and another drink. The light-hearted moment was set to Elizabeth Mitchell's Little Liza Jane. Meghan has previously spoken about her fondness for game nights. In her Netflix series with Love Meghan, she explained, "The game itself is really so fun, but what was so great was the idea of learning something new with your friends together, and then recognizing that Mahjong becomes the background of the expansion of friendship." Sir Gary Oldman has officially been knighted. The 67-year-old actor received the honour at Windsor Castle on Tuesday in a ceremony presided over by the Prince of Wales. Known for his remarkable range, Oldman has played everyone from Sid Vicious to Winston Churchill, a role that earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor in 2018 for The Darkest Hour. He is also widely recognised as Sirius Black in the Harry Potter series, Commissioner Jim Gordon in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, and most recently as Jackson Lamb in Apple TV's Slow Horses. Also honoured at Windsor was actress Samantha Morton. England footballer Rachel Daly, part of the Lionesses' triumphant Euro 2022 squad, was named an MBE for services to football. There was a heartfelt moment between siblings as Princess Anne unveiled a new portrait of her brother at the Scottish Parliament in Holyrood. The photograph, filled with sentimental detail, now hangs alongside a portrait of their late mother, Queen Elizabeth II. Captured by photographer Millie Pilkington in the sunken garden at Balmoral Castle last autumn, the image shows the king wearing his own Charles III tartan kilt and holding a handcrafted stick gifted by the May Highland Games. The relaxed setting and familiar attire offer a nod to the royal family's deep-rooted ties to Scotland. As Princess Anne removed the covering cloth, she smiled warmly and placed her hand over the frame, a quiet, affectionate gesture that did not go unnoticed. Also not going unnoticed was a subtle yet significant change in the king's appearance. His iconic signet ring, once a symbol of his former role as Prince of Wales, has been replaced. Traditionally, King Charles wore a distinctive gold signet ring on the smallest finger of his left hand, often paired with his wedding band, which he wears beneath it. The ring bore the heraldic badge of the Prince of Wales, 3 ostrich feathers rising from a coronet, with the motto, "I serve." According to jewellery historian Helen Dimmick, the ring was gifted to Charles by his great-uncle, Prince Edward, the Duke of Windsor, who held the same title before his abdication in 1936. Dimmick explains, "Since the mid-70s, King Charles III has been photographed wearing a signet ring on his smallest finger of his left hand. This was a very personal and symbolic jewel. But in the newly released image, the ring on his hand appears different. Some observers believe the undated piece carries a coat of arms more closely associated with Prince Philip, Charles' late father, rather than familiar Prince of Wales insignia. The original ring, thought to be over 175 years old, was not only a piece of jewelry, but a historic tool of royal identity, with roots dating back to ancient times when signet rings were used to authenticate documents." While Buckingham Palace has not commented on the change, the swap may reflect a new chapter in Charles' life as monarch, symbolically closing the door on his decades of heir apparent and perhaps quietly embracing his role as sovereign and son. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. And please send us an email if you're having any issues hearing bad audio on some shows. We received a review from someone who said I sound like I was in a wind tunnel, but we'd like to narrow this show down and see where it is. So if you hear something bad, Send me a note at thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com and just let me know what date that show was. And please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or the app of your choice, and come see us on Facebook. Just search for Palace Intrigue on Facebook groups or Facebook pages or on Instagram. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue, and good times.